All right, we're just gonna do it off my phone because my laptop just misbehaving right now. But I am on. Y'all should be able to hear me now, and I'm just gonna wait till a couple people jump in so I can get started. Y'all stay tuned. Let me go to the go to the. All right, go to the. Yep, I can be heard now. All right. You can now add up to 3 guests to your broadcast. All right, we got sound. Sometimes you just gotta go with old reliable, man. Sometimes you just gotta go with the phone, cause yeah, I don't know what to tell y'all. But so we are already 25 minutes in. Hopefully I get some more people in. You know, it's not, you know how the pastor say, I don't plan to be before y'all long. But this topic has just been on my mind, and also I can see y'all in the comments. So Mac, I see you saying loud and clear and all that. So y'all feel free to comment, you know, voice your concerns or anything like that, because this right here has just been an episode that's just kind of been on my mind for these past couple of weeks, and you know, just want to have a conversation about it. You know, this is not cancel talk. This is not putting anybody down. This is just having a conversation. So, like I said, as many of y'all have seen, I've been trying to drop nuggets throughout the week, and just, you know, just little things I've been noticing or whatnot. You know, as far as in the culture and things of that nature or whatever. But like I said, I got one person in right now. I'm just waiting on some more people to get in because I don't want to start rambling and people, you know, miss the message. You know, I was always told, you know, I had a calling, and you know, maybe my calling wasn't in the church. Maybe my calling was this. Maybe this is what, you know, maybe this is what I was meant to do. Who knows? But I see Tori, what's going on? What's going on? But yeah, you know what, man? I think I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. I already started late, so you know it is what it is. But tonight's episode is called Woke. And you know, like I said, I've been dropping nuggets throughout the week or whatnot as far as, you know, just talking about different categories of what woke is. So the quotations that you see around the word woke are meant to be there for a reason. And I say that because with the word woke, with the definition of woke or whatever, you know, it started off as one of those things as far as like the black movement or whatever, you know, like, you know, people need to be woke, people need to, you know, understand being black and all that stuff or whatever. That was the main driver for the word woke, you know what I mean? But now lately I'm starting to hear things like, you know, as far as a movement, as far as just like the gay movement is being woke and things of that nature, which that's why I put the definitions up in the, you know, on the page in itself about what the definition of woke meant. And when I hear people use words like that, when they say like, oh, they being woke, or why is the world so woke now, things of that nature, you got to think about where it came from. Like, that word came from the ground up. It started off as in the black communities or whatever. It started off as us being seen on TV and things of that nature, us having more, what's the word I'm looking for, us having more visibility. You know, that was a big push, at least for the black community, for what I've seen. That was the big push or whatnot. And now, you know, we have, you know, things going on with certain stuff that's being put in the, you know, TV shows and things of that nature or whatever, not only highlighting, you know, black cultures, but other cultures as well. And I guess my issue is I have a trouble understanding why, you know, the word woke is just, I guess in a sense, frowned upon. And I say that because when it started with us, you know, a lot of people was like, oh, black people got to have everything. They want to be this, they want to be that, they want to be heard. Yes, we did. And that's what we did. We got heard. And, you know, as far as, you know, the LGBTQ community and everything like that, they want to be heard as well. So I guess what I'm struggling to understand is, why was it okay for us, but it's not okay for them? You see what I'm saying? And, you know, like I said, y'all feel free to comment. You know, like I said, I'm here for, anything, any, blowback or whatever. But I just never understood why do we praise our culture, but we can't praise the next culture. That's why I have a problem understanding, because at the end of the day, everyone wants their voices heard. Everybody wants, to see what there are in movies and shows. They want to see, and I keep losing the word. I keep losing the word I'm trying to say. They want to have, it's not visibility, that's not the word I'm looking for. Representation. There it is. Representation. And I feel like representation is everything for everyone, because my thing is, at the end of the day, you want to see what you feel like you are, what you feel like, that defines you. The word's been perverted for sure lately. See, that's not what I'm saying, Mac. I'm not saying it's a perversion of the word. That's not what I'm saying. My thing is, if you look at the definition, and then even if you look at waking or whatever like that, it's just as far as a spark of the mind or whatnot. And I say that because it's like, let's just say, for instance, we deal with how we were as kids coming up or whatever. You have the millennials, then you have the boomers. So the boomers, they were taught to, hey, if you got emotion, bury it. If you, got problems going on, don't tell nobody about it. Like that was the culture in that generation. Then when it came to us, it started to phase out. Even though we were still trying to hold on to what we were taught from the boomers, everything progressed. Everything is just all about progression, because at the end of the day, they didn't understand what they were going through, versus when it came to us, they didn't understand what we were going through. It's just it's just something that's continued to evolve or whatnot. And, I've had this conversation with Anthony on the podcast plenty of times. Anthony will say like, oh, people are so sensitive now and things of that nature, whatever. It might look like that to us, but you got to think the boomers felt the same way when it came to us. Oh, y'all so sensitive, back in my day, this, that, and the third or whatever. It's all about an awakening. And I feel like it's all about an awakening of the mind as well, because I feel like when we say, hey, this has been perverted, oh, it was ours, now it's been perverted. Perversion is what you think is a perversion is or whatnot. One renaissance might not be your renaissance. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, there's a lot of things that we did as a black community coming to where we are now that was frowned upon until we broke free and then we got seen. The same thing going on with the LGBTQ community. They trying to break those barriers down or whatnot, because let's just say, for instance, I have a lot of friends that I went to school with, people that I knew growing up or whatnot. And, they may have been gay, they may have been lesbian, whatever have you. I never frowned upon who they was. My upbringing was always love people where they are. You can't control how people live their lives. Just because it's not the way you live doesn't mean it's not right. And I think that's the issue. I feel like we pass too much judgment because we feel like we're judge and juror for something that we're not meant to understand. We're not meant to understand everything that everyone is going through. That's not our place. Our place is to love people where they are and continue to love people. And, like I said, with that being said, I just, people that I knew back then or whatnot, we might not talk as much now, but the reason they still communicate with me, the reason they're still cool with me, because the type of person I was, I loved whoever. I didn't care what you had going on. If you was cool, you were cool. You were cool with me. You know what I mean? Because, and I say this a lot, because the corner was made up of people that was just in that middle. A lot of people that was in our group was just people that was in the middle. There was no popular here. There was no too cool here. There was no nerd here. There was like, everybody just came into the middle. And that's what made the corner unique in that sense, because, no one could pass judgment on anyone because no one was in the same spots that everyone else was in. Everybody had their own individual things going on. And the corner was the one thing that we found solace in, the one thing that we all came together. And it was almost like, how is it? Like, animals, the watering hole. That's what the corner was to us. That was our watering hole. It didn't matter what you had going on. Once you came there, peace. There wasn't no animosity or anything. You came there for peace. And that was the whole point of me developing this show. Developing this as a corner, because I wanted people to have a place to come to and feel safe in. I didn't want people to, watch something that was going to demonize them. I didn't want people to watch something that was going to be like, oh man, they don't understand where I'm coming from. Like, The whole point of this was to have a place for understanding. The whole point of this was to have a place where people could have their own voice or whatever have you. Because, like I said, woke is a state of mind. You can go to sleep one day and not wake up the next. It just all depends on how things fall in place for you. You can wake up like, dang, man, the sky's blue. Somebody might wake up like, damn, man, the sky's red. It's all about point of view and where you are in your life. And, with me saying that with the word woke and things of that nature or whatever, that's what it is. It's an awakening. It's a renaissance for a lot of people. And, they take it to the lengths they need to take it to because let's just have this conversation. So the Buzz Lightyear movie, a lot of people haven't seen it yet. So in that movie, there was a kissing scene between two women. And the thing about it is that scene literally lasted for 2 seconds, if anything. It didn't take away from the movie. It didn't take away from the plot. None of that. The movie was still good. There was no, thing about that or whatever. But let's just take it back. Now, let's just say this movie came out back when you didn't see a lot of interracial couples, right? So let's just say if we took it back then, there was a scene in there to where a black woman, white man was kissing or vice versa or whatever. And people like, oh man, like who wants to see that? It's the same thing or whatever. It doesn't take away from the message of whatever movie that you're watching. You're focusing on that one thing and therefore that's it for you. That's done. You don't want to see no more because it doesn't fall in with your values. And that doesn't make sense. Just because it doesn't fall into your values doesn't mean it's deemed, evil or anything like that. It's just maybe not what you want. That's maybe not what you're looking for. And that's why we have options. We have platforms where we can see other things we want to see. And, I've always had the conversation with, let's say, for instance, my grandfather, his generation is way well past beyond boomers. And, they definitely think a whole lot differently. My granddad, he'll be 76 this month. He came from a way different time than me or my father did. My granddad, my grandmother, they were still, now they weren't in slavery, but they were still, out in the fields and stuff working or whatever have you. And that's the life they knew. There are so many things in their life that they weren't used to. They weren't used to singing. They weren't used to drinking and things of that nature because it wasn't taught to them. It was always deemed as evil. And then fast forward, you come into my father's generation and this generation or whatever have you. And, oh man, ain't nothing wrong with dancing. You just having fun, enjoying yourself or whatever. That was deemed evil 50 years ago for them, but not for us. We like to dance, we like to party, we like to enjoy ourselves, we like to self-express. And, I say that because that's different changes. It's all about perspective. You may have not grown up this way. You may have not been taught this. You may not look like this. You may not feel this way. But the thing about it is coming up, at least for me, I had all these feelings and I didn't know what to do with them. And I feel like it would have been nice to know that somebody kind of had my back to understand like, hey, I might not understand where you are, but I'll try to help you as best as I can with the tools that I have. And I feel like people need that. Instead of demeaning people, instead of like, oh, I refuse to try to understand where you're coming from, no one's going to ever grow. No one's going to ever learn. You can't expect to learn anything if you won't take in information. Now, if you take in that information, then you make a decision as if that's something you want to do. But at the end of the day, that's all it's about. It's all about coming together and it's all about understanding. Just because someone puts on their pants first than their socks, am I supposed to be like, damn, bro, you don't just put your socks on, then your pants? Like, it's not for me to understand. That's the way they're doing it, but they getting it done the same way I'm doing it or whatever. So how am I to judge them for that? They're getting it done. They got their clothes on. They got their shoes on. They got their shirt on. It is what it is. Can you tap in the word? I don't know, sir. Hold on. Let me see. I don't know what just happened there. Go ahead, sir.
Yep. One second. All right, can you hear me? Oh, okay. Well, I thought my Bluetooth was gonna work, but never mind.
We all had issues. You seen what just happened to me earlier. I had to do it on my phone.
Man, it's all good.
What you got, sir?
It is all good. So, dang, I can't even start the. All right, don't worry about it. But what I guess with what I was saying with the word being perverted or it's been turned into a perversion, it's because it kind of goes back to what you say. You know, for the longest, it's been pretty much meant for the Black community. You know, it's in terms of saying you really need to wake up and pay attention to what's been put against us, and we can't go about life, just thinking singularly. And we need to do all we need to do to, progress our, or at least minimize our plight, because there's always going to be a plight in some way or another. But that's what I was speaking on when I was saying that now it's become more. Hey, what's up, Tori? I see you. I think now it's become more of an inclusionary agenda now. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of stuff that's been going on, I don't think anybody really cares until it's put in front of everybody's faces. Like with kind of like with Buzz Lightyear, which I finally seen the movie.
Good movie, wasn't
it? Man, that movie was good. Man, so now, yeah, in fact, that scene did not take me away from the movie, but of course, I wouldn't have known about it until I went and seen the movie. And and I guess in a way, for it to be what it is, a kids movie, you're not expecting something like that to be be part of the scene. So I think that's what kind of got a lot of people in an uproar about that particularly, because you're not nobody's really going in with their kid or whatever and expecting that. So I think that's where a lot of problem is coming from. It doesn't have any. I believe it doesn't have anything to do with what the next person despises, because I think for the most part, generally, most people don't care. But people can live their life the way they need to, as long as it's not being, I guess, in a sense, for lack of a better word, force fed, into the people's eyes. You really do what you want to do. Kind of just like with the new Thor movie. I'm gonna try not to spoil it for people that didn't see it, but there was a couple of scenes, a couple of speaking lines that there was, that you can kind of tell they was just trying to prove a point in this whole, what I call it, an inclusionary agenda. And with now everything just has to be woke, which is why I took on the stance of saying that woke has just become another perverted word. It kind of, I believe it kind of took away from its meaning of it, because woke can be many things, not necessarily delegated to blacks or just people of color in general. But now everything has to be from a woke stand, and it's just nothing but inclusionary that's going on. So that's kind of where my stance is.
But like I said before, the same can be said about the Black community. Once we matter, to society,
absolutely, that sucked too. Yeah, and that sucked too, because we still, I believe we still do, in our own ways. I do take on the stance that everybody does matter too. That particular agenda was corrupted from its inception. Who's the founder of the Black Lives Matter movement? It happened to be a white guy. That was already corrupted in and of itself, because that didn't do anything. They didn't do anything for our benefit. It just got camera play. It
So
got
let
airtime.
me ask you this: you think the corruption is by white people? Is that what you're saying? That's where the corruption is starting.
Well, no, I'm saying that corruption. I'm saying that didn't have for something to be a Black Lives Matter movement. I don't think the head of it should be a white person, but I could say that I could say the same for the NAACP, and that's been long standing too. So I mean, I say it was corrupted because there was a lot of funding that was going on with the movement that wasn't being accounted for, or that was being misused, and not necessarily used for, the forward progression of Black people. But they'll still get on camera, they'll still have marches and yell Black Lives Matter, just to keep up with this whole, woke agenda. So yeah, that's where I'm kind of coming from with it. Now the guy that was ahead of it, let's say he was an ally, which honestly I think that's how he started, but then somehow went left. Not sure what happened, but I don't think it would have made it. I don't think it would have. It would have made me feel away. If the guy was an ally and it actually helped. I mean, everybody needs a partner of some sort, to get through this thing called life. And I believe that he might have had good intentions with it. It was just horrible execution, and he didn't really do too much to fix it or to stop it.
So how is it horrible execution? Are we saying it was horrible execution because we found out, or where we going with it?
Well, I mean, yeah. Unfortunately, we found out, what was going on. But I mean, even then, it's just we still have to pay attention. We still have to hold these type of things, accountable. We still got to figure out. We still got to find out. Okay, this funding is going going over here, but where is it going to?
Mm-hmm.
Is it going into one source? Is it just going to one person, or is it being dispersed to inner cities that's below the poverty line or behind on education? Especially for Black kids. And this is, I know it's kind of not. It's not really going into the woke thing now. I'm just kind of talking into the Black Lives Matter thing, but. Like I said, it's just one of those things where we still have to pay attention to where, what's happening. We may not see it right then and there, but, keeping tabs on things like this. So now us finding out that I think that was going to happen. I don't think there was really no way of stopping us finding out. But all in a while, it's still, you still gotta follow through with what you're doing with the movement, because people will find out, and they people will call you out on it.
And I will say this, because a lot of the Black movements are not funded by us, and at the end of the day or whatever, whether the people are ally or not or whatever, I feel like it's still up to us to carry that torch and make sure that the causes are going where they need to go, like the dream is still being held alive, because at the end of the day or whatever, at that pivotal time, we did not matter. And people felt otherwise. They felt like, oh no, you matter, we all matter. No, I'm sorry, it's y'all not, from what our viewpoint was, we weren't seeing them get killed in the street like we were. We wasn't seeing them getting killed in front of their wives and their daughters and their children like we were. We didn't see that happen to anybody else but us. But to get back to the topic, I know you brought up Korg on Thor or whatever. So when I saw that or whatever, I didn't really feel a way about it, because I felt like that could go either way, because he's a rock. You know, at the end of the day, or
Yeah,
whatever, he was a lot.
inanimate objects. Yeah.
You know, so I'm just like, you know, if I really want to take it there, you know, with science and all that, we don't know. Maybe this man has to procreate differently than we do. Like, that's how I looked at it, because I felt like if I took it any deeper, I wouldn't be able to follow the movie. So I just took that and I just like, hey, I ran with it, you know, because, you know, we've had this conversation where, you know, I know you'll say like, you know, it's all about inclusion and things of that nature, whatever. But I feel like it's just important for us to be seeing in movies and things of that nature, just as it is for someone else to see what they are in movies and things of that nature, whatever. You know, and I feel like with them being subtle as they are, like I said before, they take away from nothing. The message is still hitting home wherever it needs to hit at, because at the end of the day, you know, it's probably just me and you now, but at the end of the day or whatever, I used to have these different feelings that I didn't know what to do with them. I went to a counselor. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm confused. I don't know what to do with these feelings. Oh, just act on them.
Yeah.
Nah, from what I was taught,
No,
the boomers, they was like,
yeah.
nah, you ain't tapping into that. Nah, you ain't doing that. And that's how I felt, and that's how I took it with the counsel. I'm like, nah, I ain't doing that. Nah, I didn't get raised like that, blah, blah, blah. But it's important for people to have a safe place, because if they're getting ridiculed and dogged out like, oh, you're an evil being, you're an evil person, then they're not. You know, like, you know, just talking about just Christianity in general. I know there's a pastor, he's on my page now. I'll probably tell you who it is after this, but you know, good friend of mine, you know, I know his family and everything like that or whatever. And you know, I'll see him post things. I'll see him demonize people that feel otherwise. You know, what his sexual orientation is. I'm like, I don't think you can do that, because at the end of the day, you know, if we're talking about Christianity, it's taught to love others. That's what you need to do.
Yeah.
Love others. You love them where they are. Depending, no matter what they got going through, you love them where they are, because you don't know what happened to them. You don't know what got them to that place, and that's a decision, and that's their walk of life. You know, down the line, it is what it is, but it's not for us to choose. It's not for us to decide. We're not judge and juror, because just like say, for instance, you got, you know, the issue with Roe v. Wade, like, separate the church and the state, because it's getting to a point to where you can't tell the difference. You know what I mean? And I know you feel some ways about that, but you can't tell the difference. I don't know if I'm following the world or the church. Like, it's colluded right now. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I just feel like, you know, this is not nothing new. This has been going on for centuries. It was in the Bible. Like, it's been going on. It's nothing new under the sun, as Anthony likes to say. It's nothing new under the sun. So, you know, at the end of the day or whatever, you know, inclusion is everything for everyone. People want to know that there's someone out there like them. People want to know, like, I can be who I want to be, and this person's who they are. You know, that's why as kids we were so connected to superheroes. As a kid, Superman was my favorite superhero. Did I see a lot of my skin tone in cartoons? Nah, I didn't. You know, but then when I did start seeing people like Meteor Man and Green Lantern, I was like, oh shit, we can do cool stuff too. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't have known that had I not seen it. You know, if it wasn't put in my face, I wouldn't have known. I would just been led to believe, like, oh, these are the only superheroes that are out there. There's nothing other, you know, than people than what you see. Like, I took my son when the Spider-Man, Miles Morales Spider-Man came out. I took my son to see that, and he was blown away. He was like, oh, wow, Spider-Man is white. You know? You know, so... But like I said, I bring that up for that reason. You know, inclusion is important or whatever. And I don't, like I said, as far as the term woke, it was birthed. It came from us. I will give you that. It came from us. It was birthed from us. And then it's been used for other things or whatever. But as far as, you know, the LGBTQ movement, in my mind, I never connected it to woke. I never, like, I guess for me, I disassociated it, because for me, it was like, oh, woke is a black thing, because I know that coming up. You know, I watched the Spike Lee movies and all this or whatever. This is what I knew coming up what woke meant. You know, so then when I hear other people use it, I'm like, oh, I didn't know that was a woke thing. But now that you say it, it might be. It's a renaissance. You know, people had a renaissance in their times. We had our, other people are having theirs as well. what can we do about it? We don't want to demonize them. We don't want to make them feel like they're less than, because they're people too. And then with Roe v. Wade, we're finding that they trying to demolish all that, like your rights and all that stuff, the right to marry and all that stuff. We try to take all that away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People are gonna live their life the way they're gonna live their lives. Whether you see it on TV, you're gonna see it in the street. If you don't see it in the street, you're gonna see it in school. If you don't see it in school, you're gonna see it in church. You're gonna see it. There's no running from everything that's going on. Everything evolves. You know, you just gotta run with it, because I had a conversation with my dad. I was like, yeah, you can't talk about just the birds and the bees anymore. You gotta talk about the bees and the bees, the birds and the birds that used to be bees, and the bees are now birds. You know, that's conversations we gotta have now. You know, but
that is wild.
That's where we at.
And you know, it is, and that's not to say that I have a certain disdain for them. I don't. It's just, man, you know, never thought we'd see the day it would come to this. You know what I mean? Now, you know, I have my reserves on, you know, what I think. You know, the natural order is, but you know, I'll save that for another time. You know, maybe if we do a part 2 of this or something. But you know, I don't think what I feel, you know, takes away the livelihood of others that think a different way. Yeah, you know, like you said, we're not judge, juror. We're not God. You know, who am I to say that you are not to live this way? And you know what I'm saying? Like, who am I to say that? You know, I think everybody has a right to life, liberty, and you know, and all that good things. But I guess where my gripe is that if you're gonna fight this thing, fight with your heart. A lot of the stuff that's going on right now is not sincere, in my personal opinion. Where everything has turned into a money grab, and that comes with Black Lives Matter, and it comes with the whole LGBTQ, IA plus, you know, and all letters of the sort movement. A lot of that is coming from a position of, yeah, we're gonna put this on TV and then make some money off of it and then make it a holiday and all that stuff. Even Juneteenth, even though great, I'm glad it is a thing, but Juneteenth still doesn't necessarily serve its purpose, in my opinion. It just gives everybody an off day. You know, that works at federal jobs.
Well, let me say. Go ahead.
Hmm?
Go ahead.
I was just saying, it in a way, it just kind of, in a way, it tells me that Juneteenth commemorates, and along with Black History Month too, it commemorates all the great things that we've done, but most of our heroes died for the whole month of February. Because, you know, just to tell the truth, they tell about the same heroes that came and went, and that's it. And with Juneteenth, in a way, it kind of tells me that we just, let's remember slavery. And it's like, that doesn't really help anything, in my opinion. And like I said, it just kind of gives us an off day from our jobs, which I've never had an off day on any Juneteenth since it became a holiday. They make ice cream off of it now, Walmart, and that's pretty much it. It's everything that's supposed to be a movement that had good reasons to be a movement has become a money grab. That's really what's becoming my biggest gripe. And then I guess it kind of ties in with this, with the sheer fact of inclusionary. Everybody's gonna watch this, or everybody's gonna listen to this. Let's go ahead and put our stamp on it and get this revenue popping.
Yeah.
And then we'll wash, rinse, and repeat.
Because, I mean, I definitely did some research on that, because at the end of the day, Juneteenth was already being celebrated by other people, you know, before it even became a thing. It was already being celebrated. You know, it just, became nationalized, as of late. But I found that other people were already celebrating it before then or whatever, because at the end of the day, that was quote unquote our independence as Black people, because, the way it happened was always funny to me, because it was pretty much like you on the field and then you find out, oh, you free. I'm what? Like you out in the field right now, you don't know the difference. So with the whole Juneteenth thing or whatever, ever since we came off the boat, everything Black has been a money grab. And when it came to Juneteenth or whatever, that got trademarked. So when it got trademarked, it was like, all right, bet we're gonna start making money off this. And that's when Walmart decided to jump on the bandwagon. It was like, all right, bet we're gonna make some Juneteenth ice cream instead of sponsoring a Black-owned ice cream that came out not too long after. I think came out maybe weeks before that or whatever. Instead of highlighting that, they was like, nah, we're gonna make our own ice cream, and then motherfuckers they gonna buy that. They're gonna buy that cheesecake, velvet, ice cream. They're gonna love that shit.
Yeah.
Them niggas gonna dance, they're gonna jig for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, them good cakes.
Right. So at the end of the day or whatever, it's just like we're always gonna be monetized, because we are, what's the word I'm looking for? We are producers. We start the trends, we start the dances, we do all of that. And we are, big money grab. Like, especially the 90s. 90s was all us. You couldn't tell Black people nothing. The 90s was all us, TV shows and all that. We prospered or whatever. And people knew that. But then when they realized, like, man, this is taking away from all the other stuff we got going on. We got to push this out. And it got pushed out. Other shows started coming in and pushing the good shows out or whatever have you, because they felt like they wanted to get enough shine. Like, man, they dominate. We gotta get our people in. We gotta, highlight them as well.
For sure.
And granted, some of those shows were good, but still, it didn't.
They weren't touching the Cosby Show.
Yeah.
They weren't touching Parenthood. They weren't touching Martin.
Yeah.
Shoot, Martin saved. We was watching the reunion. Well, that was on Fox, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that show saved that whole network because of the ratings. So I mean, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. And but yeah, man. So I guess with the whole woke thing now, I will agree with you. Woke can be many different things. I think it can include just about anybody, but I think it also depends on what their definition of it is and what their reasoning for, using the term. I'm in a position where I think, everybody has one common enemy, but that enemy is so divisive and so well with his words, and being able to convince the masses that, hey, you should put your hatred on this person because he or she doesn't agree with your viewpoints, and we're gonna go ahead and get that on camera, so we go ahead and put it on TV or put it on the radio waves.
Right.
Both of us at a service level is getting shafted at the end of the day, and it doesn't serve us any purpose. Like I'm gonna try to say something that doesn't get you kicked off or canceled. But with the like I mentioned with the LGBTQ movement, fight the fight. You know what I'm saying? If you find the fight, you do it. But the common person, your neighbor, essentially, that's the wrong person you're going after. Because me personally, I'll tell you the truth. I don't care. And that's not me to be mean, but that's just me saying that I got other stuff that I got to deal with. That I got to worry. We're both fathers. We got kids that we got to deal with. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't hurt. It doesn't make or break me. About your orientation, you'll still be my neighbor at the end of the day. But don't let that common enemy that we know, via entertainment, whether it be music, movies, TV shows, things like that. And I guess, now my newfound set, being more of a conservative man, you know, the left, oh man, they're disgusting.
Yeah.
They're disgusting, and they're using the emotions to rattle your cages. They're using your emotions as energy to continue pushing on their agenda. I'm not your enemy. You know what I'm saying? More than likely, if we have that common enemy, I'm gonna fight along with you. I'm shooting with you. Do you know how to shoot a gun? Do you know how to fight? I'm with you. And that was me going in when I went to the military. We had plenty of gay people that went into the military with me. I deployed with a lot of them too. It didn't matter. Do you know how to shoot? Can you cover my six if I need you?
Mm-hmm.
If you can do that, we good. You know what I'm saying? If you can do that, we good. I'm your neighbor. You know what I'm saying? So all the movements that's out there that's pushing and driving in the name of wokeness. What is your plan? Do you know who your enemy is? Enemies, plural. Do you know what your job is? Do you know the assignment? That's essentially it. But hopefully that doesn't get you canceled.
No, I don't think it will. I don't know how to word that and combat that because at the end of the day, when you asking questions like, do you know your enemy and things of that nature, whatever, I think it just all boils down to where people are, where people are on their journey, because just because you're a part of something doesn't mean all of you think the same. You might have your agenda, then these other people might have theirs or whatever, and that just kind of takes me back to the whole, Black Lives Matter movement or whatever, because at the end of the day, we all thought we were fighting the same fight. And then at the end of the day, we found out not everybody was fighting the same. So therefore, there was division. No one knew, who was doing what because they didn't know what was going on. In a sense, they didn't know their enemy because, at the end of the day or whatever, we say we're fighting. We say we're fighting the man. So we generalize the man as, whitey or the government, whatever. That's what we generalize it as or whatever. We feel like we know our enemy, but who's to say it doesn't go deeper than that? And, it's almost like, and then for you to say that, just say for instance, like there was a post I posted about young Southerners and, old Southerners or whatever, and I remember seeing a movie where, somebody was like, well, not even a movie. Take for instance, Walking Dead.
Okay.
In its infancy, like season 1 or whatever, you had the white guy on there that was a racist and things of that nature or whatever, but they had to depend on each other to survive. And he was like you said, as long as you can shoot, as long as you got my back, I don't care.
Yeah.
Because we trying to survive. And at the end of the day, I feel like that's what we got to do. No matter what you got going on, we have to survive. We have to figure out what's going on. We need to figure out what we're fighting, and we need to get through it together, because if we don't get through it together, it's going to always be division. Because at the end of the day, we are not all alike. If we were all alike, this world would be way different. The world would be black and gray because everyone's alike. There's no division. There's no change. There's no, anything. Just like when we were coming up in school, we liked anime. We didn't know what it was, but we liked it. But we got frowned upon for liking it. Oh, you're a nerd. You like this, whatever. You like that, whatever. Okay, that's fine. I might like this and you might like that. But as long as we can come to a common ground, we're good. And that's where we were with the corner. As long as we all came to a common ground, we was good. We didn't let no bullshit come into the corner. We didn't let nobody get disrespected in the corner. It just was what it was. If you came there, it was a safe space.
Right.
That was it.
And that's just because nobody's ever going to be the same. But just being able to live in harmony. That's I would say that would be like the top priority for any person. It's just being able to live in harmony. That's the end goal. Like regardless of how you identify, what your values are, because we understand it's not the same. But you want to come on my crib to get some food? I got you. And I would think you would do the same thing for me, because we're both just trying to survive this thing for as long as we can. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. And I think a lot of people, I think that's, we get lost in it because division sells, confrontation sells, and that's what's been going on. You'll see it all over TV and hear it in music and things like that. That's not good us anyway. And just where woke now is being coined in many different aspects where it's not sincere. It's not sincere anymore. So that's why earlier I said,
how you figure it's not sincere?
How I figured? Well, I figure it's not sincere. Now, I could be on the outside looking in because that's for the most part. If you're not cutting your TV off, for more than 24 hours, you won't see it. But nobody's ever doing that. If you're not listening to music for 24 hours, then you won't hear it. But nobody is doing it. So in some way, you can either see it or hear it. You hear. You can almost identify what's going on. As far as just what the big people's, like the powers that be, what their motives are. Even with this whole Roe v. Wade thing, man, I've never seen that was almost just as bad as the inception of welfare and Section 8 and food stamps, as far as division goes, because welfare and Section 8 was coming out. Every housewife that was, and sadly, African Americans, they were in a position of, well, shoot, if you can't do this, the government gonna take you. I don't need you in the house. I got food stamps. I got Section 8. I got, if not free, but a very low rate of rent, to stay in. I can afford that and stay at home. So now we fast forward to with Roe v. Wade, where, again, trying not to get you canceled, but my stance is, for the most part, I'm pro-life. Only because, and I wasn't always like that. I was like, yeah, man, yeah, it's your choice. I mean, honestly, it's still the same reason. When I look at numbers, and you and I kind of talked about this offline, but just looking at numbers of where, or the reasons and why abortion is happening. For one, it's under duress, where the partner, it's being forceful to their significant other, telling them, hey, you better go get this abortion, or they're putting physical harm on the lady, and due to that, miscarriages happen. So you would still have to, go see somebody to, get the abortion. Now, granted, assault happens. I'm never not gonna recognize it. It happens. However, that does not represent the majority, and most of abortions, I think, happen just because of not wanting to have that type of responsibility. And like I say, I wasn't always, I didn't think like that either, but I like to think from both sides of the coin, especially with this Roe v. Wade thing, But just to get back to with this whole division thing, that has furthermore separated the man from the woman in the household.
What you got, Tori?
And what happened?
I was asking Tori what she got.
Oh, she said,
Yeah, no.
I mean that, yeah. I mean that's I got it. But yeah, I think that's just furthermore pushes the agenda of division, or at least you know what am I trying to say?
I don't know.
What else am I trying to say? I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
But yeah.
But I mean, you know, like I said, this topic wasn't more so, you know, focused on, you know, Roe v. Wade or nothing like that. But sorry,
Yeah.
if you got something you want to add, feel free to add it. You know, because at the end of the day, you know, I want to be on both sides of this coin, you know, as far as this conversation or whatever, because, you know, like I said, you know, I have friends, you know, not that are, you know, not only black, not only gay, not only lesbian or whatever. And, you know, I definitely want to speak to both sides because I'm all about choice. You know, I'm all about people, you know, having the reins to control their life and what they want to do with it or whatever have you. And, you know, like I said, just getting back to the word woke in itself or whatever, you know, I just, you know, I really do urge people to, like you said, fight the good fight. You know, I want them to continue on because at the end of the day or whatever, you know, if you lose who you are as a person, you know, where are you at? Because you can't conform to everybody's standards. Everybody's standards are not your own.
Right.
You know what I mean? So with that being said or whatever, you know, I just feel like people gotta be free to live their lives because if they don't, you don't know what could happen to them, whatever, because, you know, I see a lot of posts of people, you know, that are in our age group that are millennials or whatever that are dealing with depression. And, you know, depression is a very real thing. And, you know, when we were coming up, we were taught it wasn't. We were taught to just suck it up and keep moving. You know, depression don't exist and things of that nature or whatever have you. But you never know how much happier people could be living their lives versus the lives people want them to live. You know what I mean? Because you can tell somebody until you blue in the face, this is how you gotta be. This is the right way, blah blah blah. And then they do it and they're not happy. And they're just conforming to your way of thinking. They're conforming to the way you want them to be. And it's slowly eating away at them because that's not what they want. That's not, you know, that's not who they are. You know what I mean? Because my thing is that, you know, you always hear the term, God don't make no mistakes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With that being said, people gonna be who they are. You know, that's just how it is. People gonna be who they are. You know, it's not for us to judge them. It's not for us to be their juror or whatever. You know, the only thing that we need to be regulating is, you know, people doing dumb shit. You know, people killing motherfuckers off of some mayonnaise. You know, people killing each other off of, you know, shooting somebody because somebody said something about your mama. Like, that's the shit that we need to mitigate. That's the shit that we need to get a handle on because it's stupid. You got people dying over literal dumb shit. All right. Tori got something. Tori says, I am pro-choice. It's a decision based on their choice. Health conditions involving high-risk pregnancies, also rape, family incest is still being swept under the rug. And I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. Totally, Tori, because at the end of the day, I had a conversation with somebody talking about the village. And, you know, they was like, oh, yeah, you know, I miss the old days, you know, where the village raised a child and things of that nature. That was cool until the village started raping your child. That was cool until the village started touching your child. That was cool until the village started doing whatever to your child or whatever. And that's what we were birthed out of. We seen so much of that coming up or whatever, and instead of being quiet about it, we spoke up. Because like me, you've always had that conversation. It started with us. It started with us speaking up, and it started with everybody changing their ways. Because once they found out, oh, they're not gonna be quiet, shit started changing. You know. And I remember I had a conversation with Anthony, and he was just like, "Oh man, this cancel culture, blah blah blah." It's not new. I the other day, I don't know if you know. Well, I know you're a Power Ranger fan. I don't know about Tori, but I found out there was a lot of stuff going on with Power
Word.
Rangers or whatever that people were against. Like apparently they in some countries they didn't want them to use the word morphin. David Yost that played the Blue Ranger, he got a lot of flack about, being gay and things of that nature while he was on set. Like it was so much stuff going on even then, and that was like what 92, 95, like how long that series ran.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like none of this stuff was new. People were speaking out. Like it got to the point where, you know, there was a video I had seen or whatever. There was these kids talking about what was that doggone movie, man? I can't remember the movie, whatever, but it was just kids talking about it. It was just like, oh man, I didn't really care for that. I thought more was gonna go on for that. I didn't know they was gonna do this, that, and the third or whatever. And that movie ended up getting so-called canceled or whatever. But the culture has always been there. There's always been people that want to speak up against things they didn't feel was right because it didn't fit their norm and their standards. And either things progressed or either things got shut down. I will say it's the power has grown for sure, but it's not new. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
but with that being said, man, I think we've been on for a good, look about an hour now. But
Yeah.
I definitely want to have more conversations with this. I have seen some people come on. You've been on. Tori's been on. There's a third person that refuses to say, "Hey," but it is what it is. I know people want to really tune in to this and see what was going on because, like I said, this is all about a conversation. That's the whole reason this show was birthed. That's all. All what made the show the way it is now is just based on a conversation. And I
Yeah.
like having these dialogues. I like being able to show people, hey, bring it here. This is a safe place. As I always say at the end of videos, I tell people to be a part of the conversation. Tori said the
Yeah.
one lurker. Yeah, we've had some of those. But
Show yourself.
But like I said, at the end of the day, man, that's all I'm here for. And y'all seen the work. We've constantly been working, putting things in motion, trying to have conversations, whatever, because we want to make this a safe place for everybody. We don't want nobody to feel like when they come in, they're gonna get ridiculed. And at the end of the day, I hate to say it, but this has become my church. I feel like this is where I can come to. This is where I can speak my piece, and I want other people to feel like they can as well. I don't want nobody to feel like they gotta be perfect to come in here. I don't want nobody to feel like, oh, I don't fit the mold or whatever. Like this is a place for all y'all to come into and talk and have a conversation with. Like, I credit a lot of the viewers and things that we have on the show based on our experiences with people, based on the people that, we came in contact with and just loved them for who they were. You know what I mean? And that's what's been able to make the show continue to grow like it has been. So, y'all just definitely keep an eye out for the next thing. Got more interviews coming. I'm in talks with the crew about season 5, and we're gonna go from there. So y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. The live video will still be up on the page. So if you didn't get to catch the live, you'll be able to rewatch it on the page. And that's all I have. Mac, I thank you for coming in and chiming in. Tori, you as well. The third lurker. Oh, we have a second person too. So for the 2 other people that's on, we definitely thank y'all for coming on and seeing what we had to talk about. Like I said, this was not getting on any one person. This was just a conversation. So thank you. Yeah. She said hand rub and shit.
Hand rub. She got that Birdman. Got that Birdman hand rub.
Oh, there go Andrew. All right, my dog. Always great content, guys.
Hey.
Awesome seeing this podcast. Haven't been to school with you all. Yeah, for sure, man. And like
Man.
that's what I spoke to, man. Like we had these relationships with people, and we still have good relationships with them because we weren't ain't shit people.
Yeah. We was in the middle. Like we
ain't shit people. But yeah, man, I appreciate that, Andrew, man. Like I said, appreciate all y'all for tuning in tonight. The video will be up, and y'all stay tuned for the next one. We'll probably do a part 2 of this. And like I said, you see how Mac is on now. I want to have more dialogues like this. I want people to be able to either comment or pop in on live and just have a conversation with me. Like I said, y'all keep up. I'm doing some redecorating. I'm in a new office space now, so
y'all gonna see more. Y'all gonna see everything come together, and that's it. Y'all have a great night. Peace.
Shalom, cover your sick.